Hello, welcome to the latest Wind in the Willows episode review. So we now have left autumn, lovely autumn, here in 2019, and we are now heading into the final season of episodes, the winter episodes. Some real classics in this season, a lot been looking forward to. We're finally getting there. And we kick off with a great one from Series 3, Champion of the Green Baize. I love this one, real classic I think. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to press play right now. No, I'm not. There we go. Okay, so like I say, from Series 3, one thing to note with this one, if anyone has noticed, the soundtrack, there's something wrong with the soundtrack in this one, as in there's the actual recording of it has suffered some wear over the years, and you can hear it. It sounds a bit, I don't know what you call it, I'm sure there's a term for it, just not quite right. Like there's a weird sort of, I don't know what it's called. But it was released on originally on that marvellous double video pack that MasterChef was also on I reviewed last week. And if any of you have that, you'll notice that the soundtrack is absolutely fine on that recording. So it's been since then that the copy of it, or the original copy, has don't know, something's happened to it. And it was re-released on video on the Fun and Games video in 1997, and then of course later on DVD and so on. So, as the narrator, turn it up a bit, as the narrator kind of suggests, well, outlines in the beginning, it's just winter, it's just started. You can see by the images, you've got bare branches there, sense that it's very cold, and you know, so it's the perfect place to put this episode really, with MasterChef just leading into it quite nicely, even though this is a later episode in Series 3 than MasterChef. And we've got this lovely cosy opening. Nice to see the four friends playing a card game. We very rarely see anything like this, of the four of them enjoying some social time together other than just chatting over a cup of tea. And I quite like this because Ratty's getting irritated with Mole, which doesn't happen often either. So you kind of hear what I mean with the soundtrack when you hear Toad then. There's just this weird sort of, almost like a watery sound to it. So Toad shouting out snap, and I love that. He's just getting the game totally wrong. And the fact that he thinks it's the childish game of snap when they're playing bridge.
Yes, but if we'd been playing snap, we would have won it. We are not playing
snap. I love the animation of Toad, Badger's fist coming down there. Beautiful animation. Really nice control of the arm there, and there's everything else around him is so controlled. He calls Badger and Toad up to be partners, doesn't he? The Badger's very frustrated. It's nice to see him. But it's so human, isn't it? You know, I can totally get how Badger feels. And I've been like this many times, and I'm sure many of us have. When you're just so irritated, you had enough, and you almost can't control your temper. And Badger, we see him in his classic outfit there, his smoking jacket, which the puppet was dressed in when it went to the archive.
No, Mole, I know where I'm not wanted. Enjoy your little game of a bridge.
The way David Jason says bridge there, bridge.
Continue with your ever so important game.
And of course that had to happen to kind of get Toad away from the others, to start getting enthusiastic about his latest craze. We don't know what it is yet, of course, and I quite like that when we get a hint of what he's looking at by what he's reading, so we the audience can kind of have a go at guessing what is this. So there's just like this big secret. There we go, billiard table. What a great idea for an episode. I mean, there's a few sporty episodes, and there's a few sports I wish there were episodes for. And somebody suggested some fantastic ideas recently. A tennis one, and I thought that would have been lovely. We do have, of course, a golf one. We have a winter sports one. We have what else? Paper chase and so on. Beautifully made cues. Look at those. It just looks so realistic. And a trophy cabinet, which is kind of interesting. I don't believe there are any of Toad's trophies. I remember when I worked at Cosgrove Hall, I remember seeing this billiard table. I don't know what happened to it. Just obviously a huge, beautiful piece of model making. This is really funny. There's some great humour in this. I mean, Toad, of course, knows nothing about the games. There's nothing new there. You know, if you think of all the other things that he's tried, he knows nothing about them. And this is an interesting set that we don't see often. It's not his library. I think, I might be wrong, but I think this set was dressed or made for this episode. I don't think it's popped up before. There's probably one or two people out there that could correct me on that. I might be wrong. But I know it does pop up again in future episodes. Notably Toad in Motion in Series 5. I'm pretty sure they use this room for that. But like I say, it's not his library because the backgrounds and things just don't match. So it's interesting. And I love it because it's such a lovely coziness to this episode. When you look at the light that's over the table and the kind of sort of darkness around them, apart from the light shining through the same glass as you can see there. Something I would love if I had a spare room and I could afford to do it, set up a billiard room like this.
But then, of course, you haven't played the game.
The thing is, the way Toad's dressed and his postures and all that, it suggests that he does know what he's doing, apart from when he does this sort of thing.
Oh, stupid thing! Why don't you take a rest, Toad? I'm not stopping yet.
I love that, Jeff. Why don't you take a rest and I'm not stopping yet?
Rest of what?
This, Toad, is the rest. It's so you can reach a ball without stretching so much.
Are you sure it's not for getting the ball out of gut?
Now, we never see Ratty or Mole play, but I'd love to. They seem to know, well, they know the rules, obviously, and what everything is.
Right. Thank you, Rat.
And this is great when you see a shot like this, so not relying on dialogue, total slapstick. Some difficult stuff when you've got characters flying about, and sometimes, well, often you'll use wires. And as I find out more and more about the making of this series, I realise that was the case more often than not, but I very, very rarely, if ever, see wires. Obviously you can pause occasionally and look for them, but you shake of the hand there, vibration. And Paul Berry, of course, was on this one. Now that statue in the background, see that? Toad is well, not Toad, but one of his ancestors is a cricketer. That I think was quite special to Mark Hall. When I visited his family's place quite a few years back now, Mark Hall had already passed away sadly, but they let me look at his old study. And in there was, I think, either the original prop or one from the same mould, but it was painted. It was painted like with the Toad colours and everything. But I recognised it. I thought, yeah, I've seen that. Beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's also a nod to the games that the crew used to play. They actually had a cricket team at Cosgrove Hall, and I've got a few photos of them. And you can see people like Mark Hall and Chris Taylor and I think Terry Brown was on there, Libsy, various people. They just enjoyed playing cricket, and I thought it was lovely. You know, you'd never get anything like that now, I don't think. You know, in an animation company where a bunch of you go out and play sport together like that. And a very gentlemanly sport, very English. Oh, I just saw a wire there. I'm just talking of wires actually. Just to pop the ball up. Beautiful animation of the ball hitting the edge of the concrete there.
Come on, back it, brain. I'll give the gentleman his
So this isn't unusual, is it? This is the weasels kind of spying on Toad.
and no doubt
They're in the
about
neighbourhood
the way
anyway,
you handle that.
and they just happen, for their sake, to be in the right place at the right time.
Quite remarkable.
You really think so?
Quite
But Toad's an idiot, isn't he, for actually letting them in? I mean, of course, he's
mind you,
giving him these ball bats, so I can just imagine how that conversation would have gone. Or he played billiards and maybe Toad shows him in because it's a chance for him to boast, and we've seen that many times as well. And that's why it works against Toad and the Weasels. Toad will always go so far because of his boastful nature. He wants to be the centre of attention, even if it does involve the Weasels.
well, yes, of course, absolutely, and I'm pretty good at that too. You've got
There's a bit of flickering there
balls then.
on Toad's face. Often that's where the animated shadow is being cast, and sometimes you're not quite as far as you should be when you're grabbing your frame. It's happened to me on various things. You realise as you're shooting, and sometimes you don't realise until you've shot quite a few frames, you play it back as that
Wouldn't we? Oh,
flicker
yeah.
there.
An honour, Mr. Toad. A real
But of course, in these days, they didn't know until they saw the rushes.
Well, so, shall we say tonight? Tonight? Oh, unless you're out.
And it absolutely does remind me of the Great Golfing Gamble here,
No.
where the Weasels are conning Toad into having a game, and with very little practice.
And we'll have a little
And of course, the Chief knows that Toad knows nothing about the
A
game.
little bet. Yeah, just to make it interesting. Oh, well, no.
And he's talking about snooker, of course, so we've gone from billiards to snooker.
Worried you'll lose. Yeah, well, very sensible. Lose? Worried I'll lose? Oh, I think not. Lose. So you will have a little bet? Yes, by all means. Say, what? The Weasel Den against your motor car. The Weasel motor car? If by any
It's an interesting bet, isn't it? The Weasel Den against the motor car. It's essentially the Weasel's house against Toad's car, but you think of the Weasel's Den, is there anything that special about it? I suppose it's the land, isn't it? But a much bigger gamble in the Great Golfing Gamble, isn't it? Probably much more unrealistic. It was Toad Hall against a gold watch.
You will be, Mr. Toad. You will be.
I like that at the end, you will be done. Now, the animation bit is a bit unrealistic there with the balls, but overall they've done a pretty good job with working out where the balls would go. And you've got to know a bit about Snoop, I think, to be able to animate this. And that's interesting. We had a wide shot, but even though Ratty, Mole and Badger are there, we sort of close up a Badger then, but we don't know they're there until we see them individually. I love that sound effect, that kind of scratching sound as the henchmen moving the scores along.
You know, I'm only 2 games ahead. I still need this one to win the bet. And I'm only 81 points ahead.
Pretty interesting animating a snooker game. And the Chief's a pretty good player, isn't he? I mean,
Well, 85. Oh dear. Perhaps you should give up on Mr.
quite surprising that the Chief is actually this good. You look where the balls are left, and they're left in a very realistic place. So I think it was really planned out. This. That was crazy shot there, flute. Now this is nice. The Chief has thinking time. There. lovely touch that. We just saw a glimpse of Mole then.
Look, the last
Actually clearing the table. Now this always used to make my dad laugh. This sound effect of the cube. Unrealistic, of course, it wouldn't make that sound, but it's just funny, isn't it?
Very nice.
There we go. Now look at the way Toad's looking here. Is he looking at the henchman or the Chief?
It looks as if you're
Hard to
nice
tell.
and shiny, rolled
But that kind of very kind of sort of disgusted look, very angry look.
Oh dear me. Yeah, tragic, isn't it? It has
Now again, of course, with this lighting, we have the chief in the shadows there, but I quite like it in this. You do see the silhouette.
Don't suppose any of you gents
Quite
fancy
threatening
a
that way, isn't it?
adventure on the Green Baize?
How dare he scoundrel! Well,
Hello.
Badger, what on earth?
I used to play a little in my younger
Well, the
days.
fact that Ratty and Mole saying, how dare he, scoundrel, but
Oh, now, Mr. Mole.
in essence, it was a fair game, wasn't it? I mean, yes, the chief cheated Toad into it, but Toad shouldn't have been so proud. It's a gentleman's game. Nice to see the weasels actually behaving like gentlemen.
Let me see.
In
It's,
this- I suppose they're good in the great. They did in the Great Golfing Gamble as well. Now Badger's putting on an act here, of course, which we find out
Yellow, green,
later. Ratty and Mole have as fooled as the weasels. I don't know what Badger's up to.
so long, son-in-law.
Badger, for heaven's sake, what are you doing?
My dear rat.
You can't understand what he's doing, but Badger, of course, has got a clever plan, a scheme lined up.
Oh, yes, come.
Please, Badger, please, don't.
Suppose we say, Toad's motor car to,
your old home.
You
Oh,
scoundrel.
I really feel for Badger there. It's like, really?
Villain, I know
His
what.
home?
Dearie me, I'm ever
So
so
actually
sorry.
betting Toad's car against Badger's home, isn't it? Nice, really.
Want to back out, if you want to call it off.
So like I say, I first saw this episode, it was on that Fun and Games video, so it was before,
No.
well not long before actually, the Channel 5 screening.
Badger,
Repeat.
no.
Look,
Um,
Badger, even I.
And that was an exciting video to have. It had 5 episodes on it. Didn't like that it was one of those My Bumper range. Made it sound like it was aimed at younger children than it really is.
You sound
But other than that, it was a lovely front cover with Toad from Hot Air with the balloon. Yeah, 5
Shall
episodes.
I see if I can remember?
The first 2 of which I'd never seen before, so it must be one of them.
Mr. Badger.
I don't know if you can see that painting right at the top there, you just get a glimpse of it. That is actually in the archive. And it's one that I didn't recognise straight away when I looked at it in the archive. And then I saw this episode again a while back and I thought,
Oh dear.
I know what that is now.
Made a mess of it, Mr. Badger.
No, lucky.
And I love how Badger says he's lucky. But of course, Badger planned that all along. He's a very, very good player. Badger making out he's lucky. I like the way Toad's watching there, it's quite nice. Joining Ratty and Mole, kind of as dumbfounded as they are. Now this music's interesting. We don't hear this music anywhere else, so it's written especially for this episode. It's got a nice sort of jaunty feel to it. I'm sure the balls will move quite realistic there. I love Mole's smile though. Really push the cheeks to the maximum there, isn't they?
Seven
The Blackie?
games to nil.
There we go.
Would you care to make it the best of 19?
No, Mr. Badger, I would not. You gulped me. You cheated me.
I was a little lucky.
Lucky. You.
So the chief is now sort of really irritated with it, of course.
Just you wait, that's all.
But how dare he say you cheated me? But of course, he cheated Toad, so he gets his own comeuppance. Very nice, neat script. Great writing there.
Brain work.
And I love this.
Pinhead donkey, you.
Never heard him say that before. Pinhead donkey.
Come here, please, Chief.
I don't know if these close-ups are chosen because they're easier to animate than the weasels scurrying out. But I think it works better.
I've no idea.
My only worry though is that no one actually sees them out.
The product I've
So
heard
the
of
the weasels could easily nick stuff as they go, couldn't they? Could do anything.
I must say, Badger, you're a
So you're kind of thinking one of them should have followed them out, but story-wise, we need the 4 of them at the end here to kind of for everything to resolve completely. Of course, the light's on Toad again, and it's just like,
Yes.
you know, he's.
Well, not so much for you as for the memory of your dear
But the fact that he sends us then a promising player.
Still, you did save me the trouble of beating him myself.
But of course, Toad still won't admit that he was in the wrong.
Oh, well,
Typical Toad, eh?
naturally, I just wanted him to think I was no good, you see. Then I was going to...
Oh, Toad, of course, as always. That's what that double video was called. I think it was The Enthusiastic Mr. Toad and Oh Toad, of course. The amount of times they say Oh Toad, I should count one day. it probably is the majority of the episodes. One. So there we go, that's Champion of the Green Baize. I do love that one. It's, like I say, it's got a nice cosy feel to it because of most of it taking place in that lovely billiard room. And then of course opening at Badgers in the winter. Get the sense that it's cold outside, there's colder weather to come. A big part of what Wind in the Willows is, isn't it? It's that homeliness, that coziness, that warmth, whatever the weather, you know. And particularly winter, you know, a lot of people say winter is the best time to watch this series because, you know, the outdoors is cold and freezing and you want to be by the fire and have a nice cup of tea and watch these episodes. So, yeah, lovely. That's why it's a lovely to just launch into winter now and get through all those. There's some great episodes coming up. So there we go. So let me know your thoughts. Champion of the Green Baize. I love that. And as we progress through winter, of course, our next one, of course, Patient Toad. So that's the one where Toad catches a cold and believes he's dying. And there is, in fact, a song that was written for it that was commercially released on CD, never animated. So we'll talk about that next week. There's also a bonus episode this week, so do look out for that as well. That's A Toad in Time, of course, from Series 5, or Mr. Toad series. But yeah, look out for that. But otherwise, I shall see you next week for Patient Toad. Thanks a lot. See you then.